Good afternoon, everyone. As you've just heard, the Security Council has just adopted Resolution 2593, which sets out the Council's clear expectation that any Afghans or foreign nationals who wish to leave Afghanistan be granted safe passage to do so at any time, whether via the airport or land borders. The resolution demands that the Taliban live up to their commitments under the Doha Agreement to ensure the Afghan territory does not become a safe haven for terrorists. It's ordinary Afghan men, women and children who will suffer the most if it does. The resolution also calls for complete access for the UN and humanitarian agencies to get aid to those who need it, and respect for human rights and international humanitarian law. This resolution shows that there is a minimum standard that the international community expect the Taliban to abide by. And the Taliban will be judged by their actions on the ground, not the words coming out of the presidential palace. And the Security Council, of course, has tools at its disposal to hold them to account for those actions. Thank you. Hi. Hi, Amanda.
This resolution has been talked about as a first step. UNAMA's mandate, the UN assistance mission in Afghanistan, the mandate's coming up for renewal mid-month in September. What other measures are you looking at to strengthen the UN presence on the ground and to make sure that the Taliban abides by commitments it's made to protect civilians and form an inclusive government?
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think you're right, this is a first step. We were all horrified by the bomb attack on Kabul airport, the suicide bomb attack, and send our condolences to the bereaved. And this is a Security Council first response to that situation. As I say, we've wrapped in concerns about safe passage, counter-terrorism, humanitarian access and human rights. But I think as we look ahead, you're right, we've got the UNAMA mandate renewal coming up next month. That will be an important opportunity to look into the medium term. The Security Council does have, I think, two important avenues here. The first is that we know that the Taliban want to see the lifting of some of the sanctions on Afghanistan, and that will be an important consideration. The flip side of that is, of course, the Security Council could consider further sanctions on Afghanistan. We'd want to be careful in doing that because the women and men and children of Afghanistan are already suffering hugely. But there will be opportunities in the coming days and weeks. Now we've got this resolution decided, I think, to build on in the UN Security Council among permanent 5 members, further consultation among the G7, which we've been chairing, and G7 in extended format, working with regional partners to look at ways where we need to move forward on some of the longer term questions. Thanks.
Hi, Sam Azim from Al Arab Al Jadid newspaper. My question is regarding UN troops. Are you in favor, in your national capacity, are you in favor of having UN troops securing the Kabul area or the airport? And do you have any comments, since you are one of the 3 countries who were responsible for the resolution, any comments on the fact that China and Russia abstained and the comments they had in the Council? Thank you.
Thank you. So I think on the first question, I mean, it is critical that the airport is properly secured, and the tragedy of the bombing, the suicide bombing at the airport, was that it called that into question, and apart from the 300 or more people killed and injured, meant that the possibility of safe passage was severely disrupted. I think there's still an open question about how the airport is secured, and I know that's one of the questions that is under discussion. So we don't have a particular view on how it should be done, but important that the airport is secure. And then in terms of the abstentions, there were 2 abstentions, as you know, from Russia and China. Of course, you really need to ask them for their reasons, but I think I'd say a couple of things. The first is that this was a short resolution. It was a response to the attack, and as I say, captured the key points on counter-terrorism, humanitarian access, human rights, and safe passage in particular. But what really struck me from the discussions we had today in the Council and the discussions we've had in the 4 meetings leading up to today is the shared importance that we all attach to the stability and security of Afghanistan, that Afghanistan should not become a haven for terrorism, and that it should not be in a position to disrupt its neighbours. So I think there's a lot of shared ground for us to work from, although in this case Russia and China abstained rather than voted for the resolution. Thank you all. Thank you.